I moved to this small town in Vermont to find peace after many years of living in the city. The house I bought is not large, just an old wooden house located at the edge of a vast snow-covered field. The winters here are long, very cold, and the snow can fall continuously for weeks. That night, the snow was falling so heavily that I could barely see anything beyond the endless white outside the window. I decided to go outside and shovel the snow in front of the house, despite the cold wind biting my face like tiny daggers. In the dense air of the winter night, all sounds seemed to be swallowed up. Everything was eerily silent, with only the sound of my shovel scraping the snow. When I paused to rest, I looked out towards the field, and I saw it. A figure standing there about a few dozen meters away. The dark cloak of the figure fluttered in the wind. They didn't move, their gaze never leaving me, or at least that's how it felt. I froze, feeling a chill down my spine that had nothing to do with the weather. I rubbed my eyes, telling myself I was imagining things from the fatigue. But when I looked again, the figure was still there, as if it was etched into the snowy ground. Trying to stay calm, I stepped back into the house and quickly locked the door. Behind the wooden door, I could still feel that gaze. I pulled the curtains, turned off all the lights, and tried to convince myself that it was just a branch or some illusion created by the snowstorm. But the next morning, when the snow had eased, I went outside to check. In the perfectly smooth snowfield, I saw footprints. One single trail of footprints leading straight from the field to the back door of my house. And then it vanished. No footprints leading back. I couldn't explain how anyone could have stood there all night in the freezing snowstorm, unless it had truly been a person. In the days that followed, every time I looked out over the field at night, I had the feeling that something was watching me back. A dark figure blending into the sea of white snow, silent, patient, waiting. And gradually I realized there are some things, once you've seen them, that will never leave you again. I never believed in the supernatural, at least not until that winter. It was a bitterly cold night in January, right after our town had been hit by a fierce snowstorm. Everyone had been warned to stay inside due to the dangerous cold winds and icy roads. I was alone in my small house by the woods, a few miles away from the main town. No electricity, no internet, just an old heater and a few dim candles. Around 3 a.m., I was suddenly woken up by a strange sound, a knocking at the door. Knock, knock, knock. At first, I thought I was dreaming. Who would be outside at this hour? In the middle of a snowstorm, the outdoor temperature could kill a person in minutes. I lay still, my heart pounding in my chest, trying to listen carefully. Then the knocking came again, this time clearer, louder. Knock, knock, knock. I put on my coat and quietly made my way to the front door. Through the small crack in the door, I looked outside. No one, just the darkness and the snowflakes swirling in the air. I was about to turn back, but then the knocking came again, this time at the back door. I froze, a chill running down my spine. It couldn't be. The back door of my house led straight into the forest, where no one lived. Trying to calm myself, I looked through the side window. In the dim light reflected from the snow, I saw a vague figure, a person, or something standing in front of the back door. They were wearing a long coat covered in snow. Their head was bowed. They didn't move, just stood there, as if waiting. I didn't dare open the door. I didn't dare move. I just stood behind the curtain, my heart pounding, until the sky slowly brightened. When the weak morning sunlight finally crept into the house, I gathered the courage to open the back door. There was no one there. But one detail made me nearly lose my footing. On the snow-covered doorstep, there were handprints. Bare handprints, with long fingers, dragging trails through the snow, as if something had clawed at the door all night. I left that house not long after. But even now, whenever I hear the wind howling through the door in the late hours, I can't help but remember that snowy night and the knocking at 3 a.m. I still vividly remember that night, a cold winter night when I was driving home after a holiday trip with my family. The interstate was eerily empty, stretching endlessly under a thick blanket of snow. The sky was pitch black, with only the weak headlights of my car cutting through the thin fog swirling in front of me. Everything was so quiet that I could clearly hear the sound of my tires crunching through the snow. Around midnight, I saw it. Another car parked by the side of the road. Its headlights were still on, casting a blurry light on the bushes nearby. The car door was ajar, gently swaying in the wind. I slowed down. My instincts told me to stop and offer help, but something held me back. There were no footprints in the snow, no signs that anyone had recently left the car. I rolled down the window and called out, "Is anyone in need of help?" No answer, only the sound of the wind howling through the cold, empty space. I turned off the engine, switched on the flashlight on my phone, and stepped outside. The cold wind hit my face, making me shiver. As I got closer, I noticed the car door was open just enough to look inside. But inside was empty. There was no one there, only an old coat draped over the driver's seat and a knit cap lying on the floor. I turned to head back to my car, but suddenly I saw the footprints. Small, bare footprints, like those of a child, leading from the driver's seat but stretching out toward the dark forest beside the road. Something wasn't right. I quickly rushed back to my car, locked the doors, and sped off, feeling as if hundreds of eyes were watching me from the darkness. When I had driven far enough away from that car, I glanced in the rearview mirror. In that fleeting moment, I swear I saw a small figure standing in the middle of the snow-covered road, waving goodbye.